Welcome back to the Kings of Houston. Joining me as ever to unravel last week's action and talk all things Royal is the King himself, Steve Firth. How are you doing?
Warmer today, Sam. Much warmer. Warm and dry, which is better than we have been for the last few weeks. So, yeah, all very good. Just out here at the sports park. Men are about to start training at 8 a.m. It is our time. So they're getting a quick session in before a game tomorrow. So, yeah, everything's good. How about yourself?
Sounds good. It's nice to see you with some sunglasses on for a change. And I'm doing pretty well. Not quite as warm as Houston, I don't think, but we've had 2 weeks of a UK heat wave, so I can't complain. And we'll get started on a positive by discussing the Goals Festival for our WPSL team at home to San Antonio Surf. In the first game on the road, they beaten by 2 goals to 0. But this one ended up being an 11-0 demolition job. So it was a great advert to put on for the supporters that showed up, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think that when they went and played away, I think they played on a poor field. That was very bobbly and didn't, play to their style very well because they want to get the ball down and move it around. So they brought them back home and, they knew how to play against them. If you watch the training sessions, they knew that they were going to push up. So they worked a lot on playing little balls in behind. And the women did a great job of just following the instructions of what the coaches wanted. And, once they get in behind and on goal, then they are pretty deadly in front of goal. There's some really good players. And when you've got high quality players and they're in the mood like they were on Saturday night, then that's the sort of result that you get. So, and they were relentless. They didn't want to slow down, and on top of that, the great thing for the women and that we can touch on the men as well later on about it is that, 5 or 6 of those goals came from current youth team players that are, 17, 18 years old that are jumping into that squad and starting games and scoring goals. So it was a good day all round.
Yeah, exactly. It was great to see, obviously, some younger players scoring the goals, and there was lots of different goal scorers during the game, which shows how many opportunities the girls can actually create. But it's also good that they got a solid foundation by, again, keeping another clean sheet at the back.
It is, and it's one of those things where it's like, I think we're just keeping quiet about it right now, of not conceding a goal, but it's something to be proud of, and it's something that I think that you build off, right? So when each game that you go into, it's that we haven't conceded and we must not concede. And, if you have that mentality, then, every time, you come up in a game, if you don't concede a goal, this group are going to score a goal. And so, that's always a good recipe for success.
Exactly. And like I say, they seem to have this quiet confidence at the back, and it's filtering forward, and we're scoring so many goals. The girls seem to have a real unity. And last week, the girls obviously went to a boxing club, which looked like a lot of fun. And it shows the chemistry that they've built off the field, which is translating into great results on the field, don't you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, it's very typical of Coach Danny to organise something like that. You're in these midst of these games and you'd think you'd be out here training and, he's off at a boxing gym, but they're having a lot of fun. And like you said, they're building a lot of unity together. And then it comes out on next week and they score 11 goals. So, that shows you exactly what it's all about,
Yeah, exactly. And obviously we had fans down at the game. And do you think this group of girls in particular can create a real buzz for women's soccer in their local community?
Yeah, they've actually done a really good job of getting people out to watch the games, and you see a lot of the younger kids that we have in our program coming out and watching and wanting to emulate them, which is great. And there's a lot of those girls that have played for us since they were 6, 7, and 8 as well. And I think that just builds a lot of interest in it. So some big games coming up for them. They come home on Sunday in a very important top of the table clash. This Sunday, so hopefully we can get a good following for that. And if they keep winning games, the good news for us is that we, fingers crossed, if we finish top, that we'll end up playing against the top of the North bracket in our division for the Red River basically championship, and we host the game. So the playoff final will be at our location, which is great. So we're hoping that we can finish top of the table, play that game, and get people involved and get people out here to watch some good soccer during the summer here.
Exactly, and you've just touched on it, but before obviously the top of the table clash at Campbell Road Sports Park on Sunday, we've got a game against Lone Star on the road before we play San Antonio Blossoms. The women can pretty much, if they get the results they want, can wrap up the top of the table and hopefully get the home ties in the playoffs. So basically, it's just trying to carry on as normal and being relentless in front of goal and being solid at the back.
It is, and I think that's the trick with on the women's side. I think it's can we just go in and play our style of play and make everybody else struggle to deal with it? And if they keep doing that, then they're going to be in good shape. This Sunday will be a test against the Blossoms. Blossoms have had very similar results to us, and so that'll be the biggest test that we've had. But you don't want to also overlook some of the other games that we've got coming up. So yes, I think that if we can go away and grab a result at Lone Star, I know when they came here they were short-handed, and I know they'll be a lot stronger at home. And then come home and get that result, then it's looking good. But you've still got to go out and win your games, and you can't take any game lightly. Exactly.
And we're going to move on to our men's USL2 side, who unfortunately we lost on the road to our bitter rivals Houston FC. So it's a bit of a tough pill to swallow, really, for the club and for players and the staff, because you always want to beat your rivals, don't you? Especially at the first game, you want to set standard.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think there was, we haven't lost at that point. And I think there was a positiveness going in there. I wouldn't say an arrogance going in there, but a positive going in there. And then, unfortunately, the guys just didn't show up that day. They didn't follow the instructions and the tactics that we wanted. They didn't adapt to what had happened in the game. They got caught on a counter-attack. And no matter how much they pushed the second half, Houston FC came to stop us playing through, and they did a very good job of it. And as the game went on, we just needed a little bit more maturity and a bit more patience of keeping the ball and creating chances. We were missing a couple of players as well, but that's really no excuse. It's just, they didn't show up and didn't play well. So, that's on us. So, yeah, very disappointing to lose that game away from home to a rival and for that to be the first loss of the season. So, yeah, that was kind of a bit of a kick up the backside, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it seems like a sucker punch. We've been on this unbeaten run going back to the previous season, so obviously losing to the rivals first and foremost isn't a nice feeling. And Coach Matt, like you said, basically was saying after the game about lacking that bit of hunger, fight, and desire in the match. But must be said, given the situation of having a red card and Coach Josh also getting into a bit of trouble, the guys were able to put up a fight, and they did get a goal back, but they just couldn't muster up enough to get another and to try and
I mean, they got a goal back with a few minutes to go, but at that point, they nearly scored an equaliser a couple of times, and maybe should have done, and then got caught on a counter attack, which is going to happen. At some point, you've got to make a choice to go and try and get yourself back in the game, and maybe leave one defender back or just two, and you're going to get caught on a counter attack, and they scored a good goal. But the chances were there. It's just it's breaking teams down that sit a little bit deeper, and getting around the outside of them and getting some good crosses in. And it was a tactic that we talked about, and the guys just couldn't get the ball into the right spot and create those opportunities. So, you get punished. At a high level, when you don't play well, you get punished. And that's what happens. So
exactly. And to end, it was turned a tough week for the guys. They went away to BBC, and they did manage to get a late equaliser through Burnley towards the end of the match. Very important goal, I think, in the with the way the standings are looking in the conference. They really needed that goal to kind of stay in playoff contention, didn't they?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, it was a difficult place to go, and we were missing about 4 or 5 starters through injury and people being unavailable. And so, we went into that game with, I think, 5 players that are current high school 17, 18-year-olds that started the game. So credit to the coaching staff for pulling out a result there. And it was a late result, and it was a late goal, but a good point away from home. Again, if you look back at the game, I think that with a full strength squad and us playing at our best, I think it's a team that we can beat. So it's a team that we need to try and make sure that we beat at home. But overall, it's important that you didn't lose that game, and that kind of leads us into an extremely important game tomorrow night, which is Wednesday night. At home to Corpus. So that's kind of like one of those top of the table clashes that's both teams vying for playoffs, and we're at home. It's a game that we have to win. So it's a massive game for us this Wednesday.
Yeah, and just to stress what you just said, Corpus obviously on 7 points, 110. So if we really need to get the 3 points to distance ourselves, especially with them having a game in hand. And it's important to follow up with the point on the road with 3 points at home.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's just something that actually I've obviously been out here just talking to the coaches a little bit, and it's something that we've got to look at. You've got 3 home games. and that's 9 points, and we need to take 9 points, you know, and every point at home is massive and it's important. You win all your home. We learned very quickly in the first couple of years of doing this that if you win your home games and you can pick up your points on the road away, and a couple of, you know, you get a couple of winners away and a couple of ties, then that puts you in great contention for a playoff spot. And so, you know, we've had a couple of home games where we should have won and maybe conceded a goal that we shouldn't have done, and that could have been more points. So it's important now that with 3 home games to go that we win all 3. And we get 9 points. That's massive.
Exactly.
And that'll set us in good standing, you know, hopefully for a top 3 spot and a playoff. But again, it's up to these guys to, you know, put the plan into action now and go out there tomorrow and prove it, you know.
Exactly. Like I said, there's a lot of younger players who played in the last game, and this will be a real test of character to try and get the 3 points at home and bounce back. But like me and you know, Steve, we do have the players and we do have the staff and the quality to deliver a result for the supporters at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, if we play at our very best, right, and on the men's side, just like the women are playing very well, we have the players, we have the ability, and it's just they haven't managed to string it together all for a whole game yet. You know, whether it's they play well for a half and then another half they don't play well, or they don't quite follow the tactics, or you know, they're just not creating the chances that they should be creating, or missing chances that they should be scoring is what's been happening. You know, and so if they can get it together, we did it last season, the last half of the season, we got it together and went 7 games unbeaten. And, you know, that's what we have to get at, you know, this season. So hopefully as you kind of move on, we brought another couple of players in and you start to get a little bit of cohesiveness with the squad. And they start to understand each other a little bit more, and that's what we need to get to now. So yeah, it's a big game, and like I say, one that is a must win. So a little bit of pressure on everybody out here.
Exactly, and I believe this week for our men and our women, we have 70s themed nights at Campbell Road Sports Park. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and can we expect you in any 70s retro gear, Steve?
Well, the hair's gone now, so there's no mullets or long hair going on or anything like that. So. We'll probably throw some 70s music on pre-game and at halftime to liven up the crowd a little bit. And you know, we're hoping for you know, a good turnout. I think Wednesday, you know, we should have some of our youth players coming out. So if you're in town, you know, I know a lot of people are watching the games on TV that are going on at the moment in the Euros and in the Copa America. So it's good to watch some live sport as well. So get out here on Wednesday night and come and watch, and the women come home on Sunday. Which is Father's Day, but you know, we're hoping for a bumper crowd out here on Sunday as well, for the women to cheer them on to a massive victory. Yeah, so 2 important games. We'd love to see everybody out here. You know, the concessions are open. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful week, so the weather will be great. And you know, and bring the kids out and get them to come and watch. You know, some of the players play that have played for Albion before, and some of our players that are from the Houston area, and some high quality players.